I have a baby and I do not have formula for the week for her, and I was wanting to see if y'all were able to help.
They stopped doing anything out of the church office about 2 years ago. I'll see if I can get somebody to do this.
Christians with a level of discernment need to be in the middle of this. A woman is going absolutely viral on TikTok for calling churches to see if they would donate a can of baby formula to her baby. Now, I've been watching multiple clips from this particular creator. She's been calling churches. She's been calling mosques. She even called mega churches like Lakewood to see if they would help feed her baby, which she really doesn't have a baby at all. But some of the churches said yes, and a lot of them said no, but they also have alternative methods of donating. So, and I've also seen creators who've pretty much been on her side saying, yes, she's doing the Lord's work. And I've had creators on the other side saying, I don't know about that. And some of them have kind of been in the middle. So I want to give my take on this and look at a lot of the clips that she's been doing from a Christian perspective. But I also want to look at this from a stronger lens of discernment, rather than looking at this and being outraged at these churches for saying no. Because yes, churches should help people, but also yes, Christians need to be wiser when it comes to these particular viral moments. But before we get into it, please do me a quick favor by hitting that like button, subscribing if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends so that we can be a blessing to each other. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I'm going to be attempting to call the East Somerset Baptist Church. I tried to call there earlier, right at 9 o'clock. It was like 9:03, and they were not answering yet. So we are going to try them again and see if they answer and if they're willing to help.
Good morning, East Somerset Baptist Church.
Hi, yes. I was calling to see if you all were able to help. I have a baby and I do not have formula for the week for her, and I was wanting to see if y'all were able to help.
They stopped doing anything out of the church office about 2 years ago. We give to some places in town that, might be able to help you, like God's Food Pantry or Perm, but they don't do anything out of the church office.
Okay, so y'all don't do anything to help?
Not directly out of the office, no.
What does it mean when you say directly out of the office?
I mean that we give, like, some of our missions budget to places in town for that kind of a thing. Like to AIM, like sometimes AIM can help, or First Choice Clinic, we give to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And there's that. They do not help your community. Not even to a mother who needs to feed her baby.
So in the first call she makes, we saw that she called this particular Baptist church and they said that, no, we don't do that within the church. We stopped doing that, but we have a missions budget and they give to their local food pantry, local missions, so forth and so on. But we don't do it directly from here. And immediately, the TikTok captions literally just said, they don't help your community. Not even a mother who's, trying to feed her baby. Now, I want to pause right there, okay? Because that's the first place that we've got to use a little bit of discernment on that, because I think that this can be a little bit disingenuous. Because what the church representative actually said was, we do give, but we give to the local community partners who specifically focus on those particular missions. We don't just hand out the cash, or we don't just hand out the formula like we got some formula in the back right now, from the desk. That's not the same thing as we don't care about you. That's often, listen, we get 20, 30, 40 calls a week just like this. And now we've created a system that flows a little bit better. And we make sure that our missions budget, whether that's, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, goes towards that mission. So therefore, they're able to do it for us so we can give you the direct contact for them. With me working in my local church and being within the budget committee and being within the official board committee for my local church, that sounds about right. That sounds par for the course. Like, there's particular missions within your community that automatically do those things. And we make sure that A, they are stocked, and B, they have the funds for that. That sounds about right. a lot of churches, especially in these areas that get a ton of these calls, they can't just Venmo or Cash App everybody who calls. I think that's a little bit disingenuous. So they partner with food pantries, pregnancy centers, benevolence teams so that they can track it, verify it, and help consistently. That's what's called stewardship. The person on the phone didn't just say, no, I can't help you. Goodbye. Click. Didn't do that. They said, hey, we don't do it directly out this office, but we do have a system in place. Here you go. So on her video, it just looked like she was trying to say churches refuse to help babies. But in real life, it might just be, hey, we already give to this organization. We partner with this organization. We want to build up that particular organization over there that specifically focuses on missions and, food pantries and stuff like that. So therefore, we partner with them so we don't have to handle the heavy load over here. Let me get you over there. Let's make sure you're situated. That's what that sounded like. I just think that that's a little bit nuanced. And I really feel like, this particular video didn't necessarily shed the light on that, especially with my experience working in my local church. Now she calls another church and she gets a different answer. So let's take a look at this.
I am calling your church to test to see if they are willing to help feed a hungry baby. So far, I've already called 2 churches. Neither one of them were willing to help feed a baby. And honestly, I'm not even a church. And if somebody called me needing to feed a baby, I wouldn't just hang up the phone. I would find them a resource and get them formula for their baby. So now I'm calling Heritage Hope Church of God in Somerset, Kentucky. And it says that they are the oldest continuing church of God in the state of Kentucky. And over the course of the past 109 years, we've been a part of the spiritual landscape in Somerset. So let's see if they're willing to help feed a hungry baby. It does not state online if they are open or not, so we're just going to call and see.
Heritage Hope Church of God.
Hi, I was wanting to see if you all could help at all. I have a 2-month-old baby and I ran out of formula last night. I was wanting to see if y'all could help with formula.
Let me see. Give me your name and number.
My name is Nakali, or just Callie, and then my number is 859-353-7777.
7777?
Yes.
It's Kylie. What's the last name, ma'am?
Monroe, Monroe.
Okay. Now what exactly are you needing?
I just need the Good Start formula.
Okay. So how much do you need? I need to know that too.
I'm not sure. I think I usually have, I think it's maybe $17 at Walmart. I mean, if y'all could just get the formula, I could pick it up or have somebody come get it.
Well, I'm an officer right now for myself, and I'll see if I can get somebody to do this.
Okay.
We can do this. I'll just see. Tell me what it is it's called in case I have to go get it, because I'm a great grandpa. I'm not used to picking up formula. Okay. What's it called?
Good Start.
Good Start. And
Sir. Sir.
It's for infants.
Yes, sir.
Infants formulas. Any flavor, anything to it, or just?
No, sir. Hey, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Hey, okay, I'm actually just testing churches to see which ones would actually help the community, and you just touched my heart. And I just want you to know that you are an amazing person. That's the formula, but I don't need it. I just wanted to see if you were willing to help. And I just wanted to let you know that you touched me today, that you were actually willing to help or find the help.
Even I'm right now thinking internally in my church, my people won't ask for anything. They won't ask me or tell me nothing. And as a rule, most of my people have been blessed. Mm-hmm. But the ones that are struggling won't tell me. But I'm trying to figure out right now with the SNAP program dying out tomorrow, or possibly, I'm trying to figure out, I don't know how to ask my people, how many of y'all are on SNAP, because they might not want to tell me.
Yeah.
Because my people won't tell me when they have a need, and we always try to help. I do help in the body. The Bible tells us that do good to all men, but especially those of the household of faith. So I started in the church, though that may sound hard. I started in the church, but my people very seldom ask me for anything. outside the church. And but a lot of churches are struggling inside. Like I said, right now, I don't know how I'm going to get my people to tell me they get SNAP benefits,
Yeah.
So I think this was good, coming from this particular church, and kudos to this person. I think that this was beautiful. This is what it looks like when you have particular churches that actually have something and they're actually saying, "Hey, I'm willing to donate. What do you need? What's your name? What's your number? How can I get this to you? What do you need to pick up?" That's also valid as well too. You have particular churches that are willing to do that, but then you also heard that he was asking his church, especially with the situations that's going on within our government, with SNAP benefits being removed, what do you need? And the church is actually saying, I don't know what I need. We don't need anything. So therefore, to me, it sounded like that church did not have a specific system or a program in place in order for things to be facilitated. So therefore, when this particular person or the older gentleman picked up, it was just like, yes, hey, I'm trying to do this because my members aren't, telling me anything. So of course, let me help you out. This was beautiful. And so this is the other side of the spectrum. This is what it looks like when you have believers who are willing to help and they're available and they help out with compassion. But I do want to say this clearly, that what this older gentleman did is exactly what it says in James chapter 2 that we all should do. If a brother or sister is without clothes and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, stay warm, and be well fed," but you don't give them what the body needs, what good is it? That's right there in James chapter 2, starting at verse 15. That's Bible. That's real. That's the heart of God. So I'm glad that this was highlighted because we saw one aspect of, hey, we don't do this straight out the church, but we do have a program in place with our third party affiliate or with this particular mission. Or B, hey, we don't have a system set up, but I'm willing to give right now. So those are two different aspects of the spectrum, but we can definitely celebrate this without pretending that every church has to respond just like this every time. Then she calls a mega church, which is Lakewood, which is the church of, the popular pastor Joel Osteen. And she even adds a little bit of flair to this one. Let's take a look.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would be willing to help feed a starving baby. So I had a lot of requests wanting me to call a mega church. So I'm actually calling Lakewood International Center in Houston, Texas. And then I also had a recommendation to play a crying baby in the background. So you will be hearing that. It is not real, okay? It is just to make it seem more realistic. And we're going to try it out and see if it changes the way they might want to help. I keep making this baby worse and they still just, nobody really wants to help. So anyways, but let's go ahead and call and see if I can get somebody to feed this baby.
Thank you for calling Lakewood Church. Your call is very important to us, and we will be glad to assist you momentarily. Morning, thank you for calling Lakewood Church. This is Ashley. How can I help you?
Hi, yes. I was calling to see if y'all could help with formula at all. I have a 2-month-old baby, and we ran out last night, so she's been going all day long without food. Is there any way y'all could help with formula?
We do have a benevolence ministry. I can take down your information and put in a request for you.
Okay. How long would that take?
We really don't have an estimated time just because we do receive a lot of requests here. Each applicant is different. It could take a couple of days. It could take a couple of weeks. We really just don't have a time frame there.
Okay,
Wow.
You said it would take a couple of days to weeks?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if approved.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Okay, I did like the idea of the baby, but I could barely hear her. I'm not going to do that again. And if I do, I'm going to turn it way down. But yeah, she said that she had some other church, and if I was approved, it could still take days to weeks to get approved, to get formula. And my baby's over here crying without food. This church is huge. Like, y'all can't. I don't know anymore about these churches. I already knew, don't get me wrong, but it's like when it's in your face and you're seeing it and hearing it, it's like, this is reality right now. Like,
wow, that interaction was very crazy, especially with the crying baby going on, because I could barely hear what she was talking about. But here's where I'm going to be a little bit balanced in my opinion on this. On one hand, I totally understand the frustration. Hungry babies, they don't have time for board meetings or applications to be approved and whether it's denied and then how much, and then, weeks and, days go by. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. You hear the crying baby in the background. What's up? Like, what are we doing? But on the other hand, I don't think it's realistic to expect a 40 to 50,000 member church to immediately cash app every anonymous phone call in real time, or to actually just say, yes, we're going to do this right now. Here we go. I'm just gonna be like, come on, let's keep it a buck. Like, even Lakewood is a very large church. They are a mega church. That means they are a very large organization and they have systems in place. That happens to be their system. Whether you like it or not, do I agree with that system? Yes or no? I don't know. I don't go to that church. But also at the same time, they also have to, guard, their particular missions and whatever they have going on. So I don't necessarily think that it would have been realistic for Lakewood to immediately just say, absolutely, where are you at? What's your name? What's your number? How can we get this formula to you? As a matter of fact, we're gonna send you a whole truckload. What's up? I don't think that's a little bit realistic from a mega church, okay? Smaller churches, more personal, more immediate. They probably have, the willing to do that. Bigger churches, they got systems. They got verification. They got things in place for a reason in order for them to build that. That's the reason why a lot of people don't like mega churches. So to act like, that you were surprised by that particular answer, I'm just saying, I wasn't surprised at all, especially with them having particular systems in place. So to act like that and say like, hey, this is why the rich doesn't care about small people, I think that's a little bit disingenuous. We do have a lot of people talking about this particular viral clips going around from this particular TikToker. And a lot of people honestly started looking at her background, started looking at to see if she truly is a Christian herself. Does she believe in God? Does she go to church? And, is she trying to see like, hey, I go to church and this is what my church does. So therefore I'm expecting other churches to kind of do the same thing in order to, extend the love and grace of God and this, that, and the third. And what people are finding, especially when it comes down to a profile, is definitely putting some people off. So I want to take a look at this particular clip and see what he has to say.
Woman is Nikaylee, and she's been doing a social experiment called. So this woman is Nikaylee, and she's been doing a social experiment calling churches to test them on whether or not they would help her feed her starving baby. And I've been getting tagged in a lot of her videos or videos about what she's doing. And so I want to talk about what I've seen so far going through these videos. I've seen some videos about her saying she's doing the Lord's work, but yet the people saying this are people who stand for anti-Christian values. Now, the first thing I noticed was her profile. Testing your church to see if they would feed a hungry baby. FDT, meaning F Donald Trump, F ICE, Free Palestine, Black Lives Matter, immigrants, pro-choice, army veteran, lesbian. And at first glance, every single video that she posts is doing this. But to get a better idea of who she is, I went back even further. Before she was going viral and getting 100,000 or more views on every video, she was making a lot of content like this. Anti-MAGA and anti-conservative views. And so she went from being extremely anti-MAGA to suddenly deciding to test churches. I find that interesting. Who are you to test churches? And are you testing them from a genuine place? How are you choosing which churches you call? Are you showing us all the phone calls? Now, I listened to about 15 of her videos. Even in the videos where they say no, they're not really saying no. A lot of them just tell her straight up, we don't have any formula on hand and we have no way to get that for you. I've heard a couple that said no say we have other food, we just don't have baby food. Then you've heard some churches say, we just don't have the capability right now. All of our money is for our members. Now I know someone wants to say, if they're a Christian church, then they should be willing to drop everything and buy formula for a baby. However, it should be made clear that whoever's answering the phone, there's no guarantee that they have extra money. Most people working at churches are volunteering. You don't know if that person answering the phone has extra money. You also don't know what the current financial status of that church is. Not all churches are receiving enough money in to pour out. This is why in the last couple years, we've seen a record number of churches closing. And so you can't know it all just by calling someone and saying, hey, my baby's really hungry. Can you buy me formula? You have no idea what the situation of that church is. And this is in no way defending these churches. This is just me approaching this objectively. Some of them did offer to help. She does share those videos. But we don't know if the reason they're able to help is because they're in a better financial position. Again, not all churches are in good financial positions. This is why we're seeing record numbers of churches closing, because the church survives off the donations of its members. If it doesn't have a lot of members, or if its members can't afford to give, the church will struggle. And so I'm not denying that there might have been a church that she called that had the money and refused to help. But what I am saying is we do not have enough information to make that assumption. I also, again, want to emphasize, who are you to test the churches?
Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because then when you look at her particular profile and you take a look at her, and again, I'm not judging her background, whatever she believes in politically, ideologically, whatever her stances are, or whatever the case may be. I'm looking at it from a Christian lens because you were deciding to test the church. And it also is a reflection on Christians, everyday Christians, just like myself. She doesn't say that she goes to church, okay? She doesn't even say if she's a Christian herself. She just says that she's going to lie in order to test churches. And her view count went from 12 over to well over 1 million. And she's, going absolutely viral. Is she also chasing a viral moment that makes Christians look hypocritical? Possibly. And is she exposing a real gap in churches? That's also a possibility. And that's why Christians with a level of discernment need to be in the middle of this. We need to, because not defending bad churches, but to show grace to churches who may have other programs set up, who may have other systems in place that's set up, or just don't have a room full of Similac in the back, to automatically give to calls just like this all the time. Because the Bible actually says in 1 Thessalonians, I think chapter 5, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but to test all things, hold on to what is good. That is discernment. That right there is discernment. So we can say, sis, you exposing something real, you doing God's work. Or we can also say, but sis, your motives matter too, because we don't know if you believe in God. But Christians can also say, see, this is how church folks are. Before y'all get mad at her, y'all need to go to the church people, because the church people need to know where the money's going and why they're not giving to some random person out on the street. A lot of these things can be true. All of these can be true at the same time. Not a lot of these churches are financially healthy or even have programs in places that helps out the community, especially for these particular things. This is why a lot of the churches are closing. All right. The person answering the phone more than likely is a volunteer, and you don't know if they have $20 to suffice in order to help out for formula immediately, or you don't know if they already did a particular food bank or food pantry the week before, the week afterwards. We don't know what those churches pretty much have set up. Many of these churches already give. They already give to local ministries. They already give to their local communities. Those things don't trend. But stuff like this, calling out churches who say no or saying that they have alternative methods, these things trend. So she's curating what we see, but we don't necessarily see the yes in our local communities. All we're seeing is the no and literally saying, see, this is why this church does X, Y, and Z. See, this is why we don't need to be giving money to the church. It's craziness. And I get it. There's a lot of crazy pastors out there that are, prosperity focused, and they just want to take all our money so they can, go buy Lambos and Rolls Royces. I get it. All right. I understand that. But I also want to add that being a local member in my local church, we have food drives. We literally just did a food drive to supply our community, especially for those who were affected in the SNAP benefits and the situations that's going on in our government right now. We don't have a whole room full of Similac. We don't. All right. But we have systems in place that does other things like food, canned goods, toiletries, those particular things. And then if we don't have those things right there in the church, or we haven't packaged those up to give to families, we also have third-party programs that supplements the things that we don't have. So I do think it's a little bit disingenuous to say that all churches, just because they say no, that they're the worst, okay? I think it's disingenuous to say that, or even to discredit local churches saying that they're not putting in the work, because let's think about this. Number one, we don't have a whole room full of baby formula sitting on stand, and we're not going to automatically just say, hey, let's go ahead and cash app you the money. You know what I'm saying? Because there's scammers out there. If that's the case, then that means every single Nigerian prince that gives you a call deserves that money, okay? They need help, all right? And number two, churches have faced attacks these past years from outside strangers. You can look it up. Churches have been attacked by outside strangers, actually making it seem as if they need help. There is a level of security concern. There is a level of security concern, especially from you being an outsider trying to come in. We don't know what's going on, because therefore, if we extend the help, let's give an example. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Help was extended to somebody at a local church, inviting them into Bible study. And that person went into that Bible study and decided to unalive a lot of people in there. What if they said no? Maybe that could have been a different story, saying a church is denying somebody coming in for Bible study. But we know the actual story around that. And unfortunately, that situation happened. So therefore, sometimes churches need to have certain levels of security in order to protect their members and to protect the church before we are just willingly and freely giving. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that. And there's also nothing wrong with you just saying, hey, I'm going to step out on a leap of faith and just go ahead and just give. But her experiment did, in fact, move a lot of people to give. I will say that. So praise God for that. God can move even in the mixed motives. What do we do with that as Christian believers? Well, I want to read this because it hits both sides. Our call to help and also our call to discern. Galatians chapter 6, verse 10 tells us, so then as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, especially to those who are of the household of faith. That means, yes, help people. Yes, prioritize your actual flock. Yes, do good when you can. But also, yes, you don't have to abandon wisdom to look good on TikTok. Everything isn't for social media. And then we can look at 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. Action and truth, compassion and clarity, help and holiness. So here's where I want to land on this entire video. Churches, don't let this harden you, okay? Yes, a lot of churches have a lot of work to do. Your local churches, your regional churches, even the mega churches. A lot of churches have a lot of work to do, okay? It's not just these particular situations. They got a lot of work to do on internally as well, especially with pastors doing some kind of crazy things. But I do know for a fact that with me working within my local church, there's a lot of work to be done, okay? So with this particular situation, maybe it is a good idea to go ahead and have systems in place for people who do call and they might need some type of help. Maybe you do need to have maybe some gift cards on hand. You might not be able to give Similac, but maybe you might have a $10 or $20, gift card, a stack of gift cards from your local grocery stores that you're saying like, hey, we don't have it on hand, but I have a gift card for you if you truly need something right now, and we can give that to you. So maybe that's an idea to have on hand. Okay. And to the believers watching, don't let these videos discourage you and give you an immediate excuse. If you're mad at the church for something else, don't let this fuel your hatred towards the church, because church hurt is real. But we also have to understand this. Are we helping? Are we helping ourselves? Even if we're not a part of a local church, as the body of Christ, we are the church. What are you doing in order to help a stranger in need, especially somebody who has a baby and they need some formula? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to step out and help out generously? Or are you just going to allow these viral moments to take over and just be like, I'm not doing a thing? Because at the end of the day, we're all everyday Christians and we're all believers, and Jesus is still the bread of life. Amen. Jesus is still calling us to love and also to extend grace, but also understand this. People are going to fail you. That's just what it is. People are going to fail you. Churches are going to miss it. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to fail you. And it doesn't mean that every church is going to fail you. Systems might be slow, but understand that God is not slow. Anyway, that's where I'm at with it. I'm not fully on her side, and I'm not fully on the church's side. I'm on the side of truth, compassion, and discernment with Jesus Christ. Amen. So let me know in the comment section down below. Did the churches drop the ball, or did she set them up? And would you have helped if somebody called you like that if you were representing your church? I would like to know in the comment section down below so that we can have a conversation about this. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a quick favor by hitting that like button, subscribing if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends so that we can be a blessing to others. My name is Rod Brown, and I truly appreciate you all for watching. Until the next time, be blessed.